All right, right off the bat, we see another Vayne ban by the side of BBQ. More respect towards Teddy.
Yeah, on Blue's side, the bans were Vayne, Rise, and Cogmore for the side of BBQ. Expect they'll be forced to ban other things here, but for now, actually, Jin Air is helping them out with a Blue side Galio ban. Maybe Grace needs to play some Galio solo queue, because banning on Blue's side is pretty stiff cost to have to pay. First pick Ezreal might have to be, forced here when it comes to where the ban's going to set this champion select to. Third ban for Jin Air acquired. We'll see if the Rise is just going to be the last ban for BBQ.
They let the Ezreal get banned, but they let the Zoe go through for now.
And that does suggest they will be first picking Zoe if it's left available. So let's see what BBQ makes of this.
It would be part of the reason why they sub in Grace, but I think it would be not a good idea to not first pick Zoe here after banning the Galio yourself.
Yeah, Grace had some solo queue games on Zoe a little ways back, but hardly expected to be huge on the pick, and they're just going to give it up. Now, they do get a pretty big prize.
They do.
They are able to pick up the Sejuani, who is the sort of champion that can punish a Zoe, but it'd be ridiculous to see BBQ not go for it. They see a Sejuani, and maybe it's time to rain death from above. They're looking at a siege comp here with the start of it. They're going to at least show the Ivern, but I think the Caitlyn perhaps a bit more realistic.
There's other picks they can try to go for as well. They flash the Jax, but also Jarvan left available. But they don't have to pick it just yet because, they know that Jin Air is not going to pick it away. They could third pick it if they really want it.
Siege now available for BBQ. They went for a very early Caitlyn, always been a favorite of Ghost. The reason why you see Caitlyn so early is to deny it from Jin Air, basically halve any laning phase as the Caitlyn, and then really scale into a skirmish comp where you walk up to a turret, you put down 5 traps, and then trouble bubbles come in, and there's not a lot of safe places to stand if you're the side of Jin Air GreenWings.
Yeah, so they know what they're going up against at this point. The question is, how do they pick against it? How do they draft here? They do pick up the Rise, another very, very strong pick in the mid lane. But is he going to be able to deal with the sieging? They have Varus as well.
Let's just say, you said the P word, pick, but let's talk about the other use of pick. Their picks here, the pick comp they can enact, the teamfight CC for the side of Jin Air is massive. Trick still playing with our hearts and minds. He is the resident solo queue Evelyn, but he doesn't have the license for his crazy picks anymore, it turns out. Won't be Zac this game. So not looking for backline threat. He's going to stick with the Jarvan that works so good in game 1.
Yeah, just picks that before it can get banned out here. It's funny, he's got the lights on his head. The coach did there for just a second. But yeah, we're going to have to go into the ban phase. Phase number 2.
Support and top lane are the roles left to be picked. Could see a Vladimir ban here on the side of Jin Air. Otherwise, it could just be a safer pick on the red side. Be taken by Crazy.
We've seen the Rise flex to top before.
That's true.
Did very well against the Vladimir. Maybe they try to get BBQ to pick the Vladimir, and then they just send the Rise top and counter pick for mid.
I'm glad that you pointed that out. It's seen as a winning lane against the Vlad, so maybe that's enough to dissuade BBQ from first pick on the red side drafting the Vlad. Last picking it after the information of where Rise was going would perhaps have to be the way. So we'll wait for the confirmation there. Vladimir is the most interesting champion to talk about because of his immense power, and it feels like the kind of spirit animal or spirit champion of week 2 of the LCK has been Vladimir.
Takes away Tahm Kench, another great pick for catching people who get caught up by the trouble bubble.
Also a great pick against what Jin Air have drafted, so I'm surprised to see it banned on red side because it answers Varus oh so cleanly, and Sejuani as well. A bit surprising to see, so Braum and Tahm Kench would have both been great tools for BBQ to be running against the side of Jin Air. And see an orange ban here, orange support when you have Braum banned away is very realistic, and then the siege gets even more insane as the traps and the bubbles are there and a damn orange ultimate flies in. So
every 20 seconds is flying by. That damn Forge God, you never get him out of your base.
BBQ may be stealing away the Alistair from Wraith, so we do see that locked in here. Jin Air are looking for the teamfight dream, but does mean that the siege comp could be very, very powerful against it.
Flashing a lot of different picks here. The Shen being hovered on for quite a while. It's another way to be active and just have him split push and try to join in if he does go top.
Shen's support has been the only role we've seen Shen in this season, barring maybe one game in week 1. In the LPL, Shen top is still very common, but we haven't seen it, so first thought was support, and against Alistar, not worried about the laning phase. Jin Air are in the position to have to blind pick their top lane, so will not be the Rise. They're not going to commit to that. Will just be the Camille. Someone had a good game, so I think returning to this is just fine.
Let's see a Fiora. Let's do it crazy. He wants Khan, and he's like, yeah, I can do it too.
Opting into a skill matchup that at best is 60-40 Fiora. Some people would say 70-30. I don't think it's that strong. Maybe they're going to go with what they were able to deal with in game 1. And if they play the map well, which they did, it's another tool that works in a siege, the cannon barrage. There is nowhere safe to stand when you're trying to stop a turret from going down. If you get out of lane early as BBQ, Gangplank can just try to waste the time of the Camille, and from there, unless the teleport is in, unless all the CC registers, you are very worried. So Siege versus Engage and Teamfight has definitely been enacted here, but the Zoe can warp games in ways that are just insane. So I think Jin Air are playing with fire. They look at the game 1 and they say, we did not have enough Engage, let's get more. They get a lot of Engage, but the only true ranged Engage is Varus and Sejuani. Both can be sidestepped. Alistar can also eat one of those, and then BBQ's comp works. So with ultimates up, there is a chance for Jin Air to take down the Siege comp. When ults are down, it's BBQ's time to play.
You mentioned the Alistar. I love that spell also highlights it here for Ignar. He's fantastic on the pick, and he forgoes the Tom Kents that would have been fantastic against that ranged engage you were talking about, and they allow him to open up the Alistar, maybe even unseal that spellbook again on the Alistar. Wouldn't be too surprising at this point.
I'm ready for some more teleports to top lane from supports. Teleport exhaust Shen in one of our recent match days, so anything can happen now with the spellbook open and ready to be used. On the side of BBQ, a lot of people are going to be, thinking a couple of times and saying, wow, they got the Zoe again. Jin Air clearly with a mid lane change and also an ideology change, think they can deal with it. With Zoe's power level on patch 8.1, I say to them, good luck.
Good luck indeed. Even a Sejuani in the front, if this Zoe gets fed, is not going to have a happy time. So, we're going into game number 2, guys. We'll see if they can pull it off for BBQ versus Jin Air. We go to game number 2, and coming into this one, we've been talking a lot about LCK, and I know that multiple people tweeted about it, multiple people were talking about it on Reddit. You mentioned it during the cast, but especially after Kongju 2-0'd KSV, it really feels that you can enter any matchup and say any team could win at this point. The underdog may have just figured something out and they're going to win, or maybe the favored team is going to draft wrong and then they lose the game. So coming into this one, I was expecting Jin Air to take the win in a long 2-1 victory. That was my official prediction.
Still possible.
So far, yeah, still possible. But I kind of like the fact that Tempt gets his Zoe back, and I think Jin Air, as you were mentioning, is really going to have to focus a lot onto Tempt here. We'll see if they can end up doing it.
The closest to an overwhelming favorite seems to be Kingzone running Khan. When that happens,
against
so
MVP.
far, they are undefeated, and like you say, they're facing MVP today, so that's a pretty sure bet. But the sure bets outside of that with SK Telecom, for now at least, being mortal. That was a visual buff there.
Whoa.
We got a lot of, this is a tricky Jarvan.
Jarvan, are you okay?
Modern day version of Annie, are you okay? Yeah, with KSV not looking great, with SKT not looking great. KSV this week, of course, could have lost 4-0, but brought it back against Afrika. There isn't too much you want to really stake your house on when it comes to bold bets about the LCK right now.
The only bold bet, it's not really a bold bet, but the only bet I would really make would be MVP up against Kingzone later on tonight. Seems to be pretty done, but we'll see. We'll see what they can bring in. Don't
Can
want to call
I
it too
also
early.
draw your attention to the fact that the team with the 5 stopwatches won game 1.
Oh, you're right. And look at the team that has 5 stopwatches again.
2-0, baby.
It's BBQ. And 3 unsealed spellbooks.
Trick is here early. Tempt is coming as well. Oh boy, we're having a bot lane party.
Oh boy. Teddy, he's so much trouble. He doesn't even flash. He knows he's dead. First blood given over so early to Trick in the bot lane, making it look easy.
I love the roam from Tempt as well. Even if the flash had happened over the fattest wall, which is no guarantee, Tempt was there to mop up the kill as well. Really nice roam coming through. And all they surrender from this is a Krug camp, so certainly not going to be too worried about that. Great stuff on the side of BBQ.
100% kill participation, but 0% damage is Ignar. Trying to bait in Wraith. This could be really bad news for this bottom laner of Jin Air. It's going to be the combination, and fortunately he just taunts away.
But that was the first next level I've seen with someone apparently holding the minions very aggressively. It is your job as a support in that scenario to stop the minions being held. This was the job of BBQ just saying, hey, we can level 3 gank pretty damn well. Teddy's ignited, Teddy's knocked up, Teddy's dead. No way to get out from that one. Goodbye, Teddy. It's nice knowing you. He held on to both his summoners, so he'll come back and pretend that didn't happen, but nice stuff from the side of BBQ.
Yeah. By the way, Ignar did ignite Teddy, so he did more than 0% damage in that fight.
Thanks, SpoTV.
But I suppose maybe they're not counting the summoners. Wraith coming in for the big steal. Not sure about this one, as you are 1v3, sir. Old man Shen is lost in the jungle, not sure where he's going. We'll see if he can get out of this one. The combo does come in, and the paddle star does hit onto Wraith, but now they're looking to turn this around. Umti coming in, a TP now from Grace, and this fight is going to be broken up.
Does throw the teleport, but it's to mid lane, so the teleport doesn't end up being too consequential. Was after the nice buy timer. A lot of things happening this game. Early game in game 1, plenty of action. Early game of game 2, plenty of action. Gangplank being up in CS because of all the action bottom side. Bit of a concern for the side of Jin Air, but maybe normalcy will prevail after the first item build and level 6 is hit on so on.
Gathering Storm. Teddy has readied himself for today's meta.
He's on Jin Air. Wouldn't it be incorrect not to go Gathering Storm?
He, at least he knows himself. He's done a lot of self-reflection, saying, okay, I'm making these games go long. Might as well just get it for myself.
One of the few AD carries we see also going for the mana flow band. A lot of people, after the last nerf on patch 8.1, moved away from it, but we do see it here. Ryze does have good trading options against the Paddle Star and, in general, the Zoe early. And does itemize well, can just go into magic resist, obviously, so easily on the Abyssal Mask. So when it comes to a Siege, kind of has to initiate to do anything, needs to be Realm Warp behind, but in a short lane like mid lane, can be very competitive trading with the Zoe.
Yeah, we talked a bit about the Gathering Storm and these crazy 70-minute games that we continue seeing, but I feel like as we play this more and more, teams are beginning to figure out ways to try to counter that meta, you know, go with more aggressive picks like Zoe and just try to nuke them in the mid to late game before they can get really tanky, before the AD carries get too out of hand. We saw a lot of engaged compositions out of teams like Rox Tigers, where they just try to go all in onto your AD carry in the mid game and not even allow him to farm up.
I mean, there weren't a lot of champions in the meta that could one-shot. You know, weren't a lot of champions that had a lot of innate threat alone, and I think that was one of the reasons that games were really extending is a lot of defensive tools in runes. Korea is a defensive-minded region. There's not a lot of engage in the meta, and there wasn't a lot of burst in the meta. So you do the mental math there, and the end result was 70-plus minutes to dream every other game. Like you say, this week,
Only when you cast with Achilleos, Papa.
That's
Only
true.
when you cast with Achilleos.
Hey, we had a long one as well. We hit an hour, I think we did.
Did we? It was like 55 minutes, 51 minutes.
I'm sorry,
like
I did some rounding, Valdez. But
you got close. It does seem like Achilleos is your long game caster curse, though.
It is, you know, or my long game caster dream, depending on the day
True,
and how excited I am about a series. But there are reasons that games have been extending. Certainly, but with the meta changing, this week has been very different. No longer do we have 380 carries banned on the red side, multiple games in a row. When it comes to must pick and bans, feels like Zoe is only recently joining that number after being on the sidelines, unpicked and unbanned a lot of week 1. Clearly teams, you know, had a chance with a couple of days in between weeks to look to other regions and understand what's strong and get some new ideas. And I do like the fact that the meta has at least tended slightly towards shorter games. The patch will help out with that.
With his fleet footwork, Sejuani not very scared to hop in there. Notice Trick doesn't have flash. He uses flag and drag too. So just trying to come in there, smites away the big Raptor. Wasn't thinking about going all in because obviously the Zoe would have gotten there first unless Grace commits to a big-time Realm Warp.
Tempt for now hasn't been able to rain death from far away, but feels like the time's coming soon, Valdez.
Yeah. He did get the Merc Treads in this game very early on. Has that extra bit of movement speed, but also can deal with the Rune Prison a little bit easier on the rise. Nicely done there. Good trade for Tempt.
I'm a big fan of the Paddle Stars when they're cast forwards. They always are a bit more exciting than the long-range ones just based on the Trouble Bubble. Nice use of the Proto Belt there, but no kill threat just yet. No Merc Treads or Negatron onto Rise for now.
Good move here by Crazy. I'm not even sure if he saw the Sejuani coming in, but lots of respect shown, backing all the way down the lane, saying, I might get dove here. Let me just throw out my ultimate and try not to die.
Yeah, Umti's had a lot of control over the Krug camp because there was jungling from Trick down bot lane on the early ganks, so has been a lot of top lane control. So smart of Crazy to just ult, and worst comes to worst, he plays extra defensive because he doesn't have the ult to turn around a gank, but he still has his stopwatch. Hasn't been forced to use that super early in this game, so extra safety for the Gangplank to farm is one of the most boiler point things we've had to discuss this week with an immense amount of Gangplank in Korea.
Pirate has returned for sure. We do have 7 stopwatches in this game. We mentioned that BBQ has 5 of them, so 2 to 5. You guys can do the math. Especially in big fights, it's definitely going to be very helpful. Oh, he hit that. Bubble coming on in. Decides not to go as Wraith is in position to taunt had he moved forward.
Ignore there to help as well, but not going to be able to help. Set up a pick there for Tempt, even with 5 points in Paddle Star already. Caitlyn can just be kind of isolated in this game. Went Unsealed Spellbook, now standard, and has gone over to the Cleanse, which is basically, when you see that summon a spell choice, say, oh, Alistair's going to be roaming then, apparently, because it's 650 range Caitlyn with Cleanse against Tavares. Someone was able to get a solo kill in the previous game, but it's been more competitive from Crazy this time around.
He's still going in, though. He's got Shen, level 6, and Crazy tries to flash afterwards. But look at this, we got double teleport coming in. He is gonna go down before this happens, but now it's 2-on-3. Here comes Trick from the jungle. He's gonna take down So-On and make that 3-on-2 now for the side of BBQ. It looks like they will back off afterwards, but you can see how quick that response can happen with all of this unsealed spellbook.
Yeah, welcome to the Korean meta where everyone can be in your lane instantly. Double teleport from Alistair and the Zoe to try to get something there. More invested from the side of BBQ than Jin Air for the 1-for-1, and they do get the stopwatch crucially down on Crazy. We're going to catch a replay. So-On once again saw a chance. Unfortunately for Crazy, he flashes too late. There is validity in flashing early against a Camille to force a follow flash. In this particular case, got the kill. Flash went down afterwards, and from there, the teleports do make it a 1-for-1, but with extra resources, advantage Jin Air GreenWings.
Got to be feeling pretty good about that right now. You will notice that Jarvan did pick up 2 kills. He is going Cinderhulk, so will be very tanky soon.
Observer showed that sometime during the replay that Flash was used defensively by Grace. I assume an EQ from the Jarvan was what prompted that. Infernal the first spawn, always going to be highly contested. Cannon Barrage back up for this.
They're gonna hit the sleep onto the Sejuani. They want to burst him down, and there it is. The Paddle Star takes him out of the fight. We still have the smite here for Trick, but he's got to stay alive. That dragon is going to just go back into the pit here. Now Ghost is all by his lonesome. He's got Zohan behind him. Good double kill for Grace in the pit as Jin Air is going to clean up on that fight.
Anyway, able to teleport down. No teleport for Crazy there, and Crazy obviously a long way away from the minion wave. Wraith is trying to stop some backs, but he's a Shen, doesn't have a lot of ranged options. No Q anymore to throw and do 50 damage, but interrupt to back means that no further gain there. When it comes to turret damage, the Varus is going to get more turret damage. Isn't looking for a shop just yet. It doesn't have Rageblade gold, I'd imagine, at this point, but Jin Air do end up claiming, after all this pandemonium and 2 junglers dying, the Infernal. This was started by BBQ, and you thought, okay, they've got the ultimate, things will be fine, especially when the jungler goes down. But Grace is able to turn on to Trick, take him down at the start of this fight, and gets a double kill in the end after all of it. This takedown, the Alistar's ult was down. Couldn't get any further kills. It ends up being a pretty big advantage to Jin Air because Sowan was able to join.
Yeah. This time it's not the Zoe that's fed out of her mind. It's the Rise, who's sitting at 2-0 now after the double kill. Farming up pretty nicely here. Doesn't go for the Abyssal Mask. Goes for the Rod of Ages instead. So wants to fight fire with fire on the Rise here.
They don't want it to be a 2-threat comp. They want sheer threat on Grace, but that means that every time those Paddle Star hits, it's going to be doing more damage. So a trade-off had to be enacted there. Merc Treads and the Rod of Ages pickup is a pretty big purchase, though, as does end up stealing the blue away from his own mid laner.
Sad times as they are trying to make another play happen up top here, but you notice that Trick is in position. Bit of an invade now from Jin Air. Will spot Jarvan.
Well into the enemy jungle. Always plays on the front foot. He's the first fleet footwork Sejuani we had in Korea. He's always taken it, no aftershock from and now even Score. And our other pathing junglers are opting into picking up the fleet footwork. Does allow him to be very aggressive. He's about 3 camps ahead of his opponent here and had good impact on the map, even though Trick's ganks have been more personally successful in his 2-1-1 scoreline.
Not sure if it was on purpose, but he did steal the red away from Sohan.
He's double buff, baby. He's ready to go.
I think that was an accident.
It was.
But
he accidentally stole blue and red. He's got to carry
right
mindset.
At the end, he's like, yeah, actually, I deserve this. But now he's going for the Rift Herald. Some vision will come down finally, but it might be a bit too late. Jarvan is going to attempt this, but against the Sejuani, and you see Sohan there too. Not going to flag and drag, as that would have been dangerous. So Jin Air with another objective under their belts.
Double buff Sejuani, and also the Camille had left lane first, meant no suicide attempt to contest from Trick. You see, finally, the Rageblade is complete, so nice item completion starting to come through the side of Jin Air. Game definitely more within their grasp this time, when Tempt has been more well held in mid lane, and they have so much initiate that even though we really like the siege from BBQ, feels like if the next 5 to 10 minutes Jin Air can win a couple of fights, get the ward supremacy they never could get in the previous game, that could count for a lot to disrupt what does feel like an inevitable march forward once we see 2 items onto the Caitlyn in particular.
Look at that jungle proximity for Trick. 3 minutes compared to only a minute here from Although it feels like is getting a little bit more done in this game.
It's 3 minutes, but also 1 gank.
Yeah.
It was a lot of time for Trick shadowing lanes. If we do see Nunu in patch 8.2, we're probably going to see a lot of jungle proximity, but low ganks as well, unless you count a snowball and an auto attack as a gank, which we'll have to confer with SpoTV to confirm. But yeah, Trick is the resident Nunu, of course, so I'm sure he's eyeing that one and looking forward to it.
I don't think we're going to see it even 1 game.
I think we will see it at least 1 game.
Okay, we'll see. We'll see, Papa. I think a total of 0 games on 8.2.
Was hot fixed on live, but the Azir Nunu thing. Will we ever see Nunu Azir? I might agree that that's a 0% chance. Oh, Tempt actually shorts the Paddle Star that time.
Pretty rough on that one. Nice ward by Rise to get some vision ahead of time. Being even more aggressive in here.
Has the Camille, never really played around the Camille after 1 gank was turned around in game 1, so playing where you're strong is one of the most important traits as a jungler, and clearly knows where he's strong.
sees Trick in here. He's losing health. He steals more and more jungle camps. He makes it harder for Crazy to lane. This is the aggressive jungling gone right for Umti in this game.
It's one of the insane things that we saw, similar kind of attempts at skirmishes by Umti in game 1 on what was perceived as a more aggressive jungler in Kha'Zix, but with Sejuani, you go into Cinderhulk, you have health-based damage, and you take no damage from the base damage of Jarvan, so you actually find those trades to be more winning ones. They chunk out the Jarvan, they know he's backed away, ends up being a pretty free first turret here for Jin Air GreenWings, so credit to Umti and so on, actually combining the powers of the laning choice and also some nice pathing from Umti and getting a nice advantage.
Even more damage up on the top side to the tier 2 turret here. Down to nearly half health, and we saw what Soan can do when he gets a nice lead in the lane. We are having a 1v1 here. Grace trying to hit his Q, misses to the left.
Jin Air want to keep doing what they're doing. Think about their comp and how we've already praised BBQ for Siege. Playing multiple lanes is strong for Jin Air. We saw the two of them, Soan and Umti, playing top side. They have Ryze to play in a side lane and use Realm Warp. Well, they're doing things, if they're able to set the pace of the game and never allow BBQ to group and push mid, if the ARAM is ever enabled, BBQ, I mean, just think of ARAM comps, they're winning here for sure with the Zoe and the Caitlyn, but yeah. On the side of Jin Air, the laning phase going much better for them because we don't have Zoe's compounding a winning mid game into taking that mid lane win and going across the map. So for now, pace of the game being set by Jin Air, they're not trying to roll in 5v5, so things going a lot better for them, but 2 items in the Caitlyn. When there's an Infinity Edge, that's when I want to see BBQ try and flip the script and to make the map more narrow so that trouble bubbles like this start hitting reliably.
Well, MT is tanky, but not tanky enough just yet. Only the Warmogs and the Cinderhulk.
But it tells you how much sheer damage the Zoe is doing that with Warmogs, a health-only item, and also the Cinderhulk with bonus health scaling. That was a lot of the health bar of someone with, what, almost 3,000 health at this point in the game?
This is tempt on, what, 2 items? We're only 20 minutes into the game, so give him time. Not even a full 2 items, working on that Leandries at the moment.
Oh, you're saying it gets bigger?
Yes, it does. Bigger the longer it goes on.
Teddy definitely felt the full pain of that. In the previous game, he's going to want to stay as far away from the Zoe as possible.
Yeah. Like the Leandry's choice up against heavy health tanks such as Sejuani, even the Shen down on the bottom side.
Become pretty core. It was like Merlinomicon and Leandry's have been the core part of the build, and from there, Deathcap Void stuff. And situational. Banshee Veil, pretty popular to deal with the fact that she has no self-peel. If the bubble misses. See, there's pretty compressed gold graph here, even though we see movements up and down. It is a scale between 2,000 positive and 1,000 negative for Jin Air, so been a pretty narrow game so far. And in all of this, the thing that hasn't been discussed is that Gangplank is having a great time in topside. Very competitive in CS against the Camille, but that's because Camille was prioritizing pushing, so not a mistake from Soan, but a game style of pushing as aggressively as possible.
Jin Air looking to take another Drake here. Will be the Ocean Drake on top of the Infernal they got earlier from capitalizing on BBQ moving a little bit too far forward last time.
And the next thing on the checklist for Jin Air to stop BBQ from becoming the comp we alluded to is gaining the Baron. If you get the Baron against BBQ's comp, you can actually force. You do trivialize the Paddle Star and the Caitlyn's ability to poke and siege turrets, but the reverse is always true. BBQ's comp with Baron forces the team of Jin Air to react to one lane, and then, oh boy, does it get painful for the side of Jin Air. So to me, the great story here, the main chapters, the rising action is all going to be around the Baron. So Baron control at 21 minutes, not always a big discussion, but when it's such a big swing in a game like this, it's going to be something for us to keep razor trained on.
Yeah. Well, I feel like Wraith is definitely a strong support. You've been mentioning him as the #2 to Teddy's #1 on the side of Jin Air, but I have a feeling that Ignar's not going to be doing any gigantic mistakes where he goes in, 1v3, gets caught, gets his Azir caught, gives up the Baron. It's definitely part of the reason why Jin Air had a lot of trouble in game number 1.
And I don't think he has Demolish either, so he's not going for the Demolish auto attacks anymore.
Please no. Never again. Oh, he gets caught here. Ignar has an opportunity to get a combo, decides against it. He was listening to my praise, doesn't want to get caught.
Not in kill range on a full tank just yet, but you're never 100% sure. Such the potency.
Oh.
That was about 1,400 damage, just to be clear. Omti's next back is definitely going to include some magic resist. Redemption was from Tempt, if you're wondering, just thrown out to the top side to try to disrupt Grace's pushing.
No redemption on the side of BBQ just yet. But when you got a Zoe, anything's possible, Papa.
And Ignar is going for the I saw Gorilla do it, so it looked pretty good. Righteous Glory teleport. Which is always fun. I do love me some Turbo Alistair, and it could happen in this game.
Yeah. Don't necessarily need the Ghost. Although, you know, in week 1 with all the hype around the bigger leagues coming online and Ming doing it over in LPL, I remember watching that and I'm like, wow, that looks broken as hell. People are going to be doing it all the time, but the teleport makes a lot more sense.
I think it's all situational. As the game goes on, you can feel out whether you want an exhaust for so on, very possible, even for the Rise. Ignite, situationally, can be powerful, but I'm a big fan of the Ghost as well.
Okay, we have a farming quiz. When the game lasts for 60 minutes, we're adding in quizzes now because the game isn't fun enough.
Hey, we got to try and make it fun for everyone.
How much AD/AP increases with Gathering Storm at 60 minutes? I'm not sure where you guys get to put in your answers, but maybe you can tweet at Papa or I or something. What do you think, Papa?
Twitch chat exists for spam. We can't see Twitch chat awkwardly. 60 minutes. We know that at 90 minutes it was a lot of AP. So with nonlinear scaling, let me look at this. I'm going to guess. I'm going to guess 2.
Okay.
It's 2 or 4 is my opinion.
I'd say 3, actually.
Okay. You could be right. I know it's 45 AD at 40.
Okay, so we got the answer, guys. You know,
it's a lot.
Someone's keeping track in Twitch chat for sure. The answer is 4.
There you go. That's a lot of AD and AP in 60 minutes.
That it is.
We know that Teddy is the master of the Gathering Storm.
Yeah. I wish, you know, for very important runes like this, we could get a look at everybody who's got sorcery second. But I'm going to hold my thought because Soan might be in a bit of trouble here. Never mind, he's Camille. He's very fast.
You got too excited. You did a Katie Rolster right there, Valdez.
You know, it's been a while since we had some action, so I was feeling it. Saw a angry bull in the Alistar getting a little bit antsy for some action.
I get it. You got the quiz wrong, so you just wanted to look smart. You're like, yeah, I'm going to get this play-by-play call. Whoops.
Gotta make it work. Gotta try.
The pressure's on now. You'll be fired if you get your next call wrong, Valdez.
We gotta have another quiz. If any caster gets 3 wrong in a row,
gone.
You just get fired.
We might be solo. We might be stream without commentary this time.
Yeah. What if both of the casters get 3 in a row wrong?
Then it turns into an observe stream. It's spectate LCK.
Yeah. Maybe we get a chance to come back in the next game. Or the next match.
That doesn't sound high stakes enough.
Yeah. Got a lot of traps here for Ghost. Seeing what he can do against the push.
It was a bit weird that they were being reset as he walked over them, as if Caitlyn for once was actually feeling the pain of her own traps. That'd be a philosophical moment for her.
I like the idea of quizzes. I just wish there was a way to get some fan interaction in. I love the fact that SpoTV is trying a lot of new things, right?
It's a great prize, by the way. If you get the quiz right, you get to watch LCK 5 days a week next week. If you get it wrong, you know, there's 5 days there if you want them.
You might get banned from the chat. Who knows?
We would never do that.
No, I've never banned anyone. I don't use my mod powers for anything.
What do you use them for, then?
Just watching.
Ah. You're a poser. You're a poser
People notice me more, you know. As number 3 on the list of play-by-play casters coming in from SpoTV, and it definitely helps to have the sword next to your name.
I think we've made it clear that I'm ranking this play-by-play caster. It's not for you to presume you're number 3.
This is your show to run, Papa.
I think there should be 4 rankings. One of them is no play-by-play, so... I mean, the Papa solo
just a
cast.
Papa stream?
Yeah, why not?
I'm
I oscillate between that being my number 1 and number 4 thing, depending on how the workload's going.
I think it's not a good thing, but I'm pretty sure a lot of us play-by-play casters would have trouble with some of these quizzes. Sometimes the numbers get away from us throughout all the screaming that we do.
Grace is playing the dangerous game of trying to split push on the top side with incomplete vision as Rise. That's what his thing is to do, though. Jin Air have finally had to deal with Ghost rotating to mid on now 3 items, so while the map's not narrow, this awkward spot where you're trading farm with the team that you were beating before, and the S words comes up, and you see scaling on specifically Gangplank, and you start to worry a little bit as Gangplank's getting free items. So they're not actually inching their position further here, Jin Air, so their lead is not growing, and I was criticizing Rock's Tigers for that yesterday. But finally, Umti's in the mid lane. It's okay, action in 2 lanes.
We got 2 action here. Ghost gets locked down, but Wraith, he's TPing somewhere else. Ghost having a lot of trouble here. Wraith almost dying in the meantime. 4 members coming down here. Looks like the gank up in the top lane did work. Grace did go down to the 2 members of BBQ.
And man, Ghost staying alive there was very unlucky. It seemed like Sowan was trading upon the burst of his E and then holding onto his ultimate, maybe thinking he wouldn't even have to use it, but he missed his E as a lot of damage dropped, and Ghost doesn't die even without heal. Pretty insane stuff there, but got away from it, and ends up with BBQ just turning onto Baron.
Definitely have an opportunity to do it here.
Trouble Bubble.
Trouble Bubble and the traps. He is going to be locked down, and see you later, Teddy. You're not going to have a lot of fun with this. Tempt even has Zhonya's as his W right now. So it's all going to be up to the steal. It's going to be up to Umti to try to get in here and steal away the Baron.
Oh, he doesn't actually get the control. Gets it over. Okay, Ignar's going to interrupt. Start play.
He's going to do it. One of the most powerful parts about Alistar around the Baron is exactly that. And he's not done yet. They're looking for more picks. Looks like they will back off as Jin Air gets far enough away. But you mentioned it before. It's all about the Baron, and the first one will go over to BBQ.
Yeah, disaster for the side of Jin Air. Just like with Rocks, this undoes a lot of their strong early game. First Ghost under turret, not giving up a kill. This was during the picture-in-picture here on the top side, was just running after Grace. Grace's Realm Warp is available. He tries to turn, so doesn't actually try to ult Realm Warp at any point here, so he just Realm Warps. That was a bit of a faux pas there. I believe he could have gotten away, but no Realm Warp summoned. He had the stopwatch available, now broken. Not a great look for the side of Grace, and in the mid lane, his top laner missing on the E meant that Ghost lived. So it's 5v4, it's a Baron. It's Zoe and Caitlyn, insane siege with Baron buff. Good luck, Jin Air. The turret's gonna start rolling.
That they are. It's very hard, you know, on the comms when you got 2 fights going on. They're diving mid lane. Meanwhile, Grace is like, hey, help me up in top. Can I get a Shen ult? And he tries to turn, and it's pretty rough. He gets down. I would have preferred just to stopwatch Realm Warp away and allowed the dive to happen mid, but
what is it with players getting very tricky and either messing up or not using their stopwatch Realm Warp? It's broken. Just use it.
Just do it, guys. Don't think too much.
Well, the free escape has looked a little bit more expensive this week and been mismanaged a couple of times in a row, to the tune of a gold lead growing very severely. If they had used the Shen ult onto, well, let's hold the point.
He's got his flash, but he's going to get stunned down. Can't get into that Realm Warp as the Shen ultimate comes on in.
And they are going to get a huge Baron buff power play. It was inevitable with a draft like this, but we all saw it coming in the Champion Select. They also have Gangplank. Their ability to play multiple lanes is insane between the 2 global abilities and also the Siege. 4th turret rolls down for BBQ, and the Baron buff can't end soon enough for the side of Jin Air, but there's still over a minute.
Similar play by Jin Air as in game number 1, where they just go for another turret and they let their turret go down.
Can't do that against this comp, though. They picked up 5 turrets already.
They're falling like dominoes, one after the other. First inhibitor goes down on the top lane, and BBQ, they are running away with this game.
And you asked me, what about the decision to have So1 split push in? In game 1, I said, given the comps, smart choice. Against this comp, you're against such siege that sure, you're like, what can I really do? But you have to try something because the end result is you get an inner turret in exchange for 5 turrets and an inhibitor. The math there checks out. That is an insane value for a Baron buff power play. 2.5 minutes, or sorry, 3.5 minutes of Baron have led to just a monumental amount of gold to BBQ, but not necessarily a huge gold lead. You will notice that it's only 900 gold lead. BBQ, they had a lot of gold to catch up.
That they did. A lot of turrets were left standing. They're now looking for the bottom tier 1, pushing all of the easy turrets. Now that the Baron buff is going to be ending, should be able to easily get the outer turret here, just allowing Jarvan to tank this up.
Not quite in the Baron buff, so it won't be 6 turrets in the Baron buff, but may as well be.
Ignar standing on a ward. Didn't realize it. They were thinking about a play, but again, it's Alistar.
It was 4 turrets to 0 until Baron, and now it is 6 to 5.
Okay, we're going to have an engage here. Trick is going super deep. 1v4 here. But again, it's just a zone. He's not trying to kill anyone. He just wants to open up that turret. Oh, they get the sleep here onto Wraith. Does have his stopwatch, but only after he suffered so much damage. Tempt now, getting in deep there. He's going to eat it. Will stopwatch himself. Someone wants to get another kill after getting tricked. He's going to get on top of Ghost. This is finally the Camille coming into it here, but he does get taken down by the combination of Crazy and Tempt. Now, okay, we do see Grace getting another kill onto a defenseless Alistar, and now it's really just Crazy 1v2. They're going to let him go down as Tempt just decides to get away with his life.
Yeah, 4 for 1 there for the side of Jin Air. BBQ had the right idea, but they used too much threatening. They could have just used a Gangplank ult and then walked up and taken a turret, but instead they started the dive, and So-On got his first teleport flank of the entire series. Wasn't able to do it in game 1, was just split pushing. Got maximum value out of the Hextech ultimatum, taking down Ghost. They tie up both the threads. They get the flash out from Tempt, and they're able to actually find a foothold back into a game that was quickly snowballing out of control. In 3 minutes, they lost 7 turrets. But with that win, and now the 4th Drake of the game, Elder Dragon is shaping up to be a pretty epic win condition for Jin Air. So talk about this scenario. If you put down a Gangplank ultimate, Trick is not there, Ignar's not there, they still have to back away. They will blow the locket. They'll probably get the turret, and the PLCC of the Alistar and Jarvan will be there to interrupt and tangle with So-On. But instead, So-On can wait here. Trick is out of health. He's already basically dead. And then Tempt has to use the stopwatch instantly. This was all forced from the over-aggression of the tank and frontline. BBQ's duo, Trick and Ignar, really does let down the team because they're on a different wavelength to how they could have played the fight. And the extra greed gives Jin Air back in a chance to win this game.
You're talking about gold leads. Well, one does not really exist now as Jin Air has closed the gap. And it truly is anyone's game at this point in time. BBQ, with the domino effect on all the turrets, they get themselves back in, but one overcommitment makes this game even. We got Baron coming up in 50 seconds. They're looking towards that, but the non-stop split push out of So-On seems to never end as he's on top of that inhibitor turret. 6 items
onto the Gangplank will mean there's going to be a bit of a delay. He's getting some fun visual back there. That's very amusing on my screen. Doesn't matter though. Wave clear going to be decent. Be a little bit of chip damage each minion wave, but it's going to take many, many rotations of minions, or the Gangplank leaving for them to get much value there. They put down a lot of vision and clear a lot of vision around Baron, but it's instantly replaced with 15 seconds left. BBQ do have Alistar Jarvan to face check around that area, but the Baron buff value we've already mentioned is sky high for and against BBQ's comp.
Camille is an entire item behind Crazy. And he's going to be going in. He's got actually Wraith coming upon him. They're going to 2v1 against this Gangplank. He's trying to stay alive, but down he will go. And immediately the Baron is going to start. So good response here out of BBQ. Can Jin Air get back in time? It looks like no, they're just going to try to give it away. Maybe Umti can go for the steal.
Doesn't have any vision.
Just going to go walk away. And that means that another Baron will go over to BBQ.
So he had a control ward, but chose not to put down any vision. Unsure if that was the right decision. On the back end, they're trying to punish Trick. They got 3 members here, might be able to cancel out at least 1 Baron buff.
Cataclysm into EQ is the hope, and it looks like it will be enough to get him out. So they get 1 kill, they give away Baron, and not too much extra pushing on the side here of Jin Air.
I feel like SpoTV could have stopped that and had a combat puzzle of how to escape from that many members of Jin Air, and it was well solved by Trick, so great job. You win our quiz prize of getting to watch more LCK next week. Trying to buy time here, BBQ, for the respawn of Crazy.
Okay, the Chain of Corruption is going to lock down the Alistair.
Trick will be
now,
dead.
Oh, Tempt gets pretty low. As, well, that's what a Ryze and a Varus can do when they have the room to just do that sustained damage. And Tempt can't just poke away. Almost takes out someone on the back foot. I think it was Wraith. But he does get away with his life as well.
So now we return to the simple equation of Baron buff back on BBQ. They're going to attempt to roll down a single lane as 4 and have Gangplank at least go even in a side lane as the 5th member and break the base in a 2nd spot. They already had one inhibitor down much earlier. The inhibitor has respawned, but the turret has not. See how BBQ respect their flanks, because when they're rolling as 4, it's only Sowan who can be able to rewrite what looks like pretty simple turrets rolling down for the BBQ comp. Sowan had a lot of power in game 1, but the composition around him didn't really lead to him being in a position to succeed. See about what happens in this game. Here's the rolling down mid lane from BBQ.
Yeah, they want to set up that siege if possible. They have to be careful not to get caught out here.
Yeah, Jin Air playing 2 lanes, basically trying to ensure that side lanes are never rolling, so it's only 1 lane. It's just 1 lane to play for the side of BBQ.
Gangplank, Crazy trying his best to deal with all of these lanes. But you can see what Sowan can do when he's left alone down there. Keep in mind, yes, this inhibitor will go down, but the 2 lanes are being pushed. They're going to continue pushing.
They should continue pushing. They want to draw back the Ryze. They're going to try and end the game.
They are going to do, or at least try to. They're going to take out 1 Nexus turret. We'll see if they continue here. They got the TP coming on in. The ultimate, though, gets onto that backline onto Zoe. There's the 2nd turret going down. Are they going to come in here? It looks like they can. As getting into the backline now is the Ryze, as well as Sowan on top of Ignar. Jin Air is going to clean this up in the end after losing 2 inhibitor turrets. And we know what happens when it gets late in the game. They have an opportunity to end. We're here at 40 minutes. We'll see what they can do from here.
Yeah, it'll be a 4v1. Trick will get away unless Ryze can interrupt. Will he Q over the wall and get him? He doesn't. So Trick does get away against the super minions. Gonna take time. They will at least get 1 inhibitor, of course. Ending the game here looks impossible with 25 seconds on the respawn for Ghost. That was a mistake from BBQ. We asked so many questions, Valdez, of was it smart to try to overforce and end the game for some of these teams? The 31 HP for Freaka, that was probably the right call. It was unlucky. This one, however, was probably the wrong call. They felt pressured to do it. They're gonna lose 3 inhibitors here, unless they can try to defend the top lane inhibitor that was already down.
Top lane, they have an opportunity. And with Tempt and Ghost respawning Crazy, 6 seconds, they're going to let it go. You were talking about that other win condition. The Elder Drake is up and ready to go.
They got to start competing for it, but because they died, they have no vision. Trick.
Okay, Trick is going to get caught here. Can they burst him down? Yes, they can. With the Hextech ultimatum.
Zoe.
TP coming in, though.
Trying to end the game.
It's in the main lane. It's in the main base right now.
Trying to end the game.
They're going to try to stop the backs right now. We got 2 people going down. Look at the damage coming out of Tempt right now.
He's
going to be able to do it.
Oh.
Can he put it in? Tempt Expecke looking for the last hit. The taunt's coming in. 1 more will do it. And he gets it. Tempt with the end of the game. What a play by BBQ. That's going to be the 2-0 victory over Jin Air. Not what I was expecting. What a way to end the 2-0 victory for BBQ.
We've got our own Peke. It's Tempt. We knew about the Zoe in game 1. He was held in check in game 2. The pandemonium in the studio. Respawns, switches over to teleport and says, I've got a good chance here. Didn't even need a Lich Bane to train down that Nexus. Famous victory for BBQ. Game 1, smart. Game 2 was a bit of a highway robbery. And Jin Air GreenWings, after picking up their 2-0 over MVP, suddenly have given up a defeat as this league continues to be just as even as can be.
Every single time we come into the studio, you never know what to expect. Another 2-0 victory from BBQ. You got to hand it to them. That was some incredible game sense out of the entire team. That was an entire team call, right? It's not just Tempt saying, okay, I'm doing it. He TPs in, the rest of them stop the backs, and it really just works out in a crazy way.
I really wish we had the ability to rewind on our screens and just see who put down the ward. In what context was the ward down there earlier? Because it could have just been for a backdoor attempt. We haven't seen backdoor wards, and we've had multiple games with exposed nexuses in this week. So another thing you need to consider is putting out that extra vision. The backdoors are not common in Korea, famous European trope, but here it is a surprise. Well played by Tempt. Only Shen could get back. No ability to stop it. We're going to see the replay. Watch Zoe, who has cleanse, goes back to base and is like, hey guys, we're not going to be able to contest for the Elder.
Split second
we
call.
can't face check there. He makes his own call to the ward that was still 1.5 minutes in duration. Starts the autos. The team goes for the interrupts there. Tempt the match winner of game 1. Maybe he just gets the MVP for being the match winner of game 2. Sorry, Wraith, you're only a Shen. Can't even be taken down by those super minions. Congratulations, BBQ. Now 2-2. Feels like after week 1, we said, hey, it's only week 1. That's why we have 8 teams 1-1. 2-2 is the new 1-1. And no team can advance, as understandably, Omti and the members of Jin Air are crestfallen.
It was all the Jin Air hype. We had the Teddy plane on our CG. Everybody was saying, hey, Teddy's the new big guy on campus, and Jin Air are the favorites coming into this. But as you said, nothing can be certain in this league anymore. We're going to get a replay of, actually, we already had the replay. We're seeing a replay perhaps of something else, is what I just got told. But either way, somber faces for all of Jin Air at the moment, as they are incredibly sad at this moment in time. Okay, we are going to have a replay of the fight before that at the last 2 Nexus turrets as they go down.
Yeah, we're looking for the ward here because the ward was such a winner from the side of BBQ. Ignar puts it down as he dies. He falls on top of it. Can it be any more metaphoric? He dies there. There's a flash for the Zoe to pick up as well. Ignar's the hero. Well done there.
I see even smiles on the side of the Jin Air fans at the moment, as they cannot deny. They can't deny the genius of that entire play out of BBQ. I'm sure BBQ as a team got some new fans after today's game.
Oh, SpoTV, I love that you found the ward. Beautiful stuff there. Ignar the hero. He said, if I die, my team will go on. The noble cow does the hard work. Well, that was an interesting 41-minute game. You know, we've had 41-minute Stallfest. This one, however, was a fun one.
It was incredible. We had, let's see, 23 kills in total in this game, and what an end as well. That's going to be on the highlight reel. That's going to be on the top of Reddit, no doubt. And you really got to hand it to them. BBQ seems like, you know, they have some trouble with mechanics. Sometimes their drafts don't work out, but you see a play like that, and the potential of this team in the future is, it's off the chain, Papa.
So hard to rank any of these teams, though. Who's moving up? Who's moving down? It feels like everyone is trending towards the middle. But right now, the middle is such a big catchment that when you're thinking of who's going to finish 3rd, 4th, or 5th, that's unsure. Even our top teams are tripping up. Unsure. Will SKT make it to playoffs? Unsure. There's very little certainty in the LCK. If this was a market, it would certainly be Bitcoin, up and down. Cryptocurrency is the LCK in 2018. You're riding a roller coaster. KT knew it first, but they're now turning into an entire league, and your MVP, how could it not be Tempt?
Yeah, it's got to be Tempt. He gets the ending of the game with the backdoor. I feel like there should be some bonus MVP points given over to Ignar. Without his ward, it would not be possible. And it's just an entire team effort, and the split-second decision, as you mentioned, a really good call. He has cleanse, moves out of the fountain, and he's like, wait, no, I could TP. And who knows, we're not going to get the comms. Maybe we will in the future. I know SpoTV is doing their own, like, kind of comms thing where they show the comms. Maybe they will say, like, maybe it was Ignar that was like, hey, I got a ward down, get TP and go. We will never know. Maybe we'll find out in the interview.
Let's hope they ask.
오늘은 그 예상을 모두 뒤엎고 단시간에 경기가 모두 마무리가 되었습니다. 자, 오늘 승리를 거둔 BBQ 올리버스의 승리를 견인한 단독 MVP죠. 템트 선수의 인터뷰가 준비가 되어 있거든요. 함께 만나보시죠.
자, 오늘 경기 최고의 선수 템트 선수와 얘기를 나눠보겠습니다.
Here is today's MVP Tempt.
굉장히 어떻게 보면 좀 경기 풀 때보다도 지금을 더 긴장하고 있는 것 같은데.
You look more nervous,
오늘 경기 만족스러워요?
even more nervous during the game.
1경기는 되게
The first game, I think I played quite well, but the second game,
역전을 시키고
I think that we allowed them to make a comeback. But in the end, we won, so I'm happy.
분위기가 사실 요즘에 그 최우스갯소리로 강남과 상암의 경기 시간이 굉장히 다르잖아요.
Yeah, everyone is talking about the memes about the game time in the Gangnam and also in OGN.
계속 이야기가 나오고 있어서 불자갈 뭐 이런 부분의 뭐 조합이라든지 이런 얘기도 좀 나오고 있었는데 어떻습니까? 이거 완전 확실히
So is it true?
그 장면을 뚫어낼 수 있을 만한 팀
Do you guys have the potential to stop the late game meta?
잘 모르겠고 제가 조이를
Well, we're not really sure about the solutions, but it really matters on our plays.
저는 되게
Then how do you rate Zoe as a champion?
이게 약간 좀
Well, I personally prefer it, but it's not really strong in 1v on the side lanes.
어저께랑 많이 연습했던 것 같아요.
I just practiced yesterday a lot.
특히나 지금 현재 템트 선수가 인터뷰를 하니까 코칭 스텝이 굉장히 바로 옆에서 걱정스러운
Here we have your coaching staff here worried about your interview.
이때 긴장 푸는 방법에는 집밥만 한 게 없잖아요. 그래서 저희가 준비를 했습니다.
So we have
먹으면서
special trick to get rid of some of your pressures for your interview.
긴장 푸는 거죠. 집밥이
It's your BBQ
어쨌든
chicken.
긴장 최고 좋으니까요. 긴장이 좀 풀려요?
맛있어요.
Do you feel comfortable now?
서프라이즈.
그렇죠.
This is our new product from BBQ. I really like it.
관련된 내용들이 굉장히 많이 나왔습니다. 킥을 1세트 경기 후반에
The game one,
원샷으로 잡아내는 장면이 있었어요.
You just knocked out E0 in the late
그때는
game.
이미 딜량에 대해서 머리가 좀 들어왔었어요. 그 정도는.
그 이지열이
먹어도 돼요.
Well,
이성만 쓴거 보고 나서 그냥 제가 전멸도 있고 그래서
I saw E0 use his E skills, so I was sure that I could get it because I had flash.
많은 선수들의 생각들이 밀고 있을 때는 좋다라는 건 확실히 이제.
So tell us more about Zoe.
그냥 확실히 유일할 땐 좋은데
Well, it's really good if you have some kind of priority in the games, but I personally just like it because it's really fun to play.
재밌었어요. 저.
서프라이즈 했어요?
Yeah, I really enjoyed playing Zoe today.
특히나 이런 얘기가 있더라고요. 유럽을 영입했을 때.
So you have two players from EU LCS.
인상 깊은 얘기를 했었는데 협회와의 인터뷰 템트가 두 선수가
And during the interview last time, you
돌자가
described
앞으로
them
나오네요.
as crazy guys.
그 아이였다. 요렇게 얘기를 했다고 그러더라고요.
제가요.
네, 본인이
What did you mean by that?
어떤 의미로 그렇게 얘기했어요?
일단
First of all,
분들이 좀
those two players are really funny.
하는 그게 좀 약간 그런 것 같아가지고.
하는 게
So,
재밌지만
yeah, they're just so funny. I just said they're a little bit crazy.
그러니까 어떻게 보면은 팀 내 분위기를 잘 만들고 경기에서는 그런 식의 약간의 미치는 그런 감성이 있어줘야 돼요.
So you have to crazy to win the game, right?
이후 선수들을 좀 평가했던 것 같은데, 자 마지막 그 넥서스 오더에 대해서 얘기가 좀
Then
많이
tell
나오고
us
있습니다.
about the
이그나 선수가
backdoor you
마지막에
made
그
in the
전체
last
끝나고 동시에
minute.
와드를 박으면서 몸으로 이제 덮고
So Ignar was the one who put down ward in the enemy
넥서스.
nexus.
어떻게 된 거예요 그 장면?
Was that planned?
네, 저는 몰랐는데
I actually didn't know, but
형들이 저 장화 있는
they
거
told me
헬로 바꾸고
to change my spell from cleanse to teleport and go to the nexus right away.
팀원들의 그 오더 때문에 그게 나온 거라고요?
So it was team
그래서
shot
그
call,
장면,
right?
그 장면 누가 오더를 했던 거예요 그럼 그 순간?
트릭 형이나 이그나
I think it was Trick or Ignar who told me to go teleport and just take down the nexus.
결과적으로
So it was
유럽산 소리였다.
EU LCS order, right?
인터뷰와 함께 누구였어요?
I agree.
누구였어? 이그나 어디 갔지? 일단은 저희가 나중에 나오면
So we'll try to find out later.
특히나 그 이그나 선수를 칭찬 안 할 수가 없는 것이 2세트에 워낙 경기가 진짜 이그나 선수.
So we have to mention about Ignar because his performance was so great today.
BBQ의 흐름들이 굉장히 많이 달라졌다는 얘기들이 있잖아요.
He was the real important player for your team for the split.
뭘 자기가 하는 걸 좋아해가지고
He's kind of like a playmaker, so
주도적이게 바뀐 것 같아요.
I think we kind of gained more priority during the games.
영향이 있었다. 평소에 생활에도 이그나 선수가 많이 도움을 줘요.
Does he help you a lot during the real life? Yeah, he's really funny.
그냥 형이 재밌는 것 같아요.
He's a really funny type of guy.
알겠습니다. 끝으로
And lastly,
템에 관련된 좀 아쉬움이 있었잖아요. 그런 얘기도 이제 평가들이 좀 있었는데 이번에 완전 다른 형식 좀 풀어내는 과정들을 많이 좀 보여줬었거든요.
so sometimes you don't perform perfectly in different champions.
좋을 것 같아요.
I'm working on it, so I think I can become better player.
사실은 MVP는 받지 못했지만 워낙 그 좋은 활약을 많이 보여서
So, well, Ignore didn't get the MVP point, but he made great shot calls and decisions. So we have Ignore for a short interview.
근데 사실 이걸 안 물어볼 수가 없어가지고
We really wanted to ask who landed the award and whose shot call was it.
과정도 있었어요. 그 과정에서 많은 팬들이 인상 깊은 장면이라고 얘기를
It
했었는데
was a really
그거 그때
smart
당시에
play.
조금만 설명해 주실까요?
Can you describe the situation?
너무 죽기 싫은데
I really didn't want to die, but I had to.
이제 쌍타워가 날아갔으니까
But we saw all the turrets down,
그냥 와드 계속
so I was just wondering we could make a backdoor, so I just landed a ward there.
어느 유럽산에
So is a shot call from EU LCS or just LCK players?
탑 정글이 많이 했던 것 같아요.
I think it was our top end junglers. So you put the ward and top end junglers made the shot call and Tempt made it, right?
오늘 템트 선수가 굉장히 많이 잘해줬잖아요. 템트 선수를 끝으로 한번 좀 칭찬해 주신다면요?
Then is there anything you want to say to Tempt, who performed so greatly today?
실제 세계에서는 좀 멍한데 게임
Well, in the real life, I think he's really, we're like a silly guy, but in game, I think he's really brilliant.
템트 선수. 일단 그 나이처럼 그 감각 지금 게임 아니라고 생각하고 팬 여러분들께서 오늘 진짜 BBQ가
Then last message for your fans who has been rooting for you for today's 2-0 victory.
팬들에게 한 말씀 부탁드리겠습니다.
항상 응원해 주시는 분들
Thank you for all the love and support,
경기도 이겨보도록
and I'm gonna make sure to win the upcoming matches. Thank you.
그리고 멋진 와드를 만들어내면서 멋진 경기를 펼쳤던 이그나 선수와 함께했습니다. 여러분 고맙습니다.
Thank you, Ji-sun, for the translation. It was funny to see Ignar ganking the interview there right at the end, but yeah, it was cool to see basically that the entire team was calling the play, especially Crazy and Trick and Ignar. Those are the three guys that were like, hey, do it, TP onto that ward. And turned out to be the winning play for BBQ.
And a necessary one, because otherwise Jin Air had left open the OPs from game one, adjusted their own draft, played very smartly against what BBQ wanted to do. It was only a single Baron take that got BBQ back into the game. The second one didn't look like it'll be massive. This was Ignar's great headbutt to find out Teddy, who was in a ward unbeknownst to his own knowledge. They got so many turrets here that BBQ brought themselves back in. So great use of the Baron buff as expected from a draft like this, but it all lent itself to a 40-minute decision. Great little replay from SpoTV showing that it was Ignar dying and putting down a ward onto his own carcass. Very inspirational stuff. Doing it for the team here after an attempt to finish that from BBQ was actually the wrong one. They tried to finish, and teams that tried to finish have been punished again and again. But Ignar at the end of this, so we do get to see his death. Look at this zoom! He actually dies onto the ward. Can it be any more poetic? It was beautiful.
It's perfect. The perfect ending to a
Someone needs to go
game.
back there and clip the slow motion Cal dying on top of the ward. That is the ultimate support moment. And then the carry gets to take all the credit.
Yeah, it looks so good for Tempt, right? TPing onto the ward, but it was a team effort overall. Let's take a look at today's results so far. A 2-0 victory in 2 under 45-minute games against Jin Air. Not what you would expect, but makes a lot of sense. It says expect at the end, by the way. At the top there, it says expect is the right thing or something like that.
Hey.
You were, expect you were right. Like,
we're getting all the EU memes out there. We have the meme of the 2 EU imports. We have the meme of the Peke. Somehow this was just BBQ through and through, so congratulations to them. I want us to fast forward to the next, which hopefully will be the standings, because they're on fire again here in the LCK. Thank you very much. SpoTV just on point. Look at this.
they're listening.
4th through 7th. It's 2-2. SK Telecom, the only team other than MVP to be behind that group in the middle.
Yep.
Kingzone Dragon X could actually be 2-2 if they are to somehow find a way to lose to MVP.
Well,
wouldn't that just be the true ending to this second week of LCK?
There's definitely a way. When there's a will, there's a way, as we have learned today and in multiple other days. Kongdu coming up big, getting another win, tying the rest of them up at 2-2 after taking out the strongest team right now in the league. It's a big old clown fiesta here in LCK right now.
If Kingzone win 2-0, which you would expect they would against an MVP team that hasn't won a game, they will end week 2 first after going 2-0 down to KSV in the first game of the season. The musical chairs between great teams who, between the meta and also some drafts that have been up and down, has led to some pandemonium in the standings. And like I mentioned, 6 days of the LCK. The 12th best of 3 that I have cast this week will be MVP versus Kingzone Dragon X. And Valdez, some interesting lineup stuff to talk about when we get to that game as well.
Yeah.
Not everything is as it seems.
We're not going to talk about it yet. We'll have you guys wait for about, let's see, it's
Let them sweat it out. 40 minutes.
40 minutes. You can just think amongst yourselves, talk amongst yourselves during the downtime, and think about what it could possibly be in the rosters.
Will
that
it be
may have
Pilot?
changed.
Will it be Maha? I won't tell you.
Well, you'll never know until
Who's
40
jungling?
minutes later.
Who's jungling? Maybe Pilot's in the jungle this time.
Well,
If SKT
we've
can
seen
do
crazier
it.
things happen. Yeah. Going back to the standings, it's the 3 teams on top that we would expect at the top. SKT not up there, and then the rest of everyone basically that's not MVP all piled up in the middle. So there are a couple of spots for 4th place and 5th place that are open right now.
But there are teams that have played 11 games, and yet we still don't know, are they really good, or are they going to actually be a bottom half team? We don't know. That is how much parity that is.
Yeah.
We expect Kongdu Monster to fall away. We expect Jin Air to kind of tussle around the middle. But expectations, reality, up and down every day.
Yeah, so guys, we're going to take that 40-minute break. When we come back, Kingzone Dragon X versus MVP. We'll see you in a bit.